I'm going to be discussing the Oupes Exodus 1200. This is a 1200 watt portable power station with a capacity of 992 watt hours. I do want to be as transparent as possible with you guys. Oupes did send this product out to me to test, to provide a review on it, and to do testing on it because this was a pre-launch. And I did find some things that I'm not happy with. I do want to share with you all, but I have reached out to Oupes and they have assured me that these problems will be fixed, but I haven't seen this anywhere else. And the first one is going to be pertaining to their power cord and electrical systems that I found in my setup that from this point forward, this will not be happening. So Oupes promises me that that will be fixed. I don't have the new production model that will be coming out, but they did send me a cord that would fix the problem that I had. And I'm going to show you that a little bit later in the video. But I have tested Oupes products in the past and I have been very, very happy with them. They bring in very high quality for a great value. But I'm going to be a spoiler alert right now. This is not my favorite product by Oupes. And let's talk briefly about the layout of the Exodus 1200. The display is something that we're familiar with on almost all Oupes products. And this is one of the better displays that you're going to get on any power station, portable power station. It shows you everything that you basically need to know right here on the display. There is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities with this. You don't have to use it to use this power station, but you can turn it on and off right here. I'll get to that in just a second. We have three 120 volt 20 amp outlets. We have 4 USB ports. 2 of them are USB-C at 140 watts of output, which is great. The AC button will turn this on and off here. You just press that and it turns the inverter on and off. Of course, this is your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. You press that, goes into pairing mode here. I'll talk more about the app in just a moment. But let me turn that off. The DC to turn on these ports and your cigarette port and your barrel ports is the DC button here. You can see it kind of turn it on and off for you there. Over on the right side is how you charge with solar. I'll talk more about that in a little bit as well. The AC charging and a protection reset over here. On the top corner, they provide a QR code that you can scan and download the new app. And I'll be showcasing that in this video as well. But that's the basic overview of the Oupes Exodus 1200. And the Exodus 1200 is a very portable unit because you could pick it up with your pinky and move it around. And weighing in at only 23.6 pounds, anybody should be able to move this portable power station around fairly easy. Now let's move into some testing because I did put this through some rigorous testing. I've had this unit for a couple weeks and I've tested it in different scenarios just to see if it performs well. I do not like taking these out of the box and doing one test and providing with an update. I do like testing them and really trying to find if there's problems that I need to address, work with the company to get them fixed, and then provide you with that information. But with this, I've had it for a couple weeks. I've tested thoroughly. Let's talk more about those. And the first test that I performed was a discharge test to see what the maximum discharge would be. And I got around 1,375 watts and it provided an E001 error code. And that probably stood for an overload protection or something of that sort. So I had to reset it, and to reset it, you just basically turn off the power to the power station and then turn it back on. And then I ran that test for a second time and I came in at 1,455 watts and got a different code with an E002 error code. So I'm not really sure what that means for one to be an E001 and the other one to be an E002. I would think if it's going to be overload protection, it would be the same code. But the important thing here is that it protected it, and I was able to reset it by turning off the unit and turning it back on, and it was good to go. Now, I do want to make it clear that it should provide an overload protection when we're pushing beyond the inverter's capability. So it performed like it was supposed to. Then I finished up that test with a continuous discharge to see if it could come somewhere close to around that 1200 watts. And I had to balance that out right at 1100 watts to see if it would run it. And it had no problem with running at 1100 watts all the way down to 0. And this next test is where I ran into some pretty significant problems. When Oupes sent this out to me at first, they sent me this cord. There's a difference between this cord and this one. This one has a ground. This one does not have a ground. And I'm going to show you why that's very important, because when I tried to charge this up here in my shop on that receptacle, it feeds to a GFCI outlet. And that outlet feeds all of these receptacles down here. So it feeds 8 or 9 receptacles, including the GFCI. That ties into a dual function breaker, which is an AFCI, GFCI. They call it a dual function breaker. So it's arc fault and ground fault protected breaker. Every circuit in my test center and in my house are protected by AFCI, GFCI, or dual function breakers, they're called. And when I tried to charge this up in here, it would trip the GFCI that's at the receptacle. So I tried that a couple times and it continued to do it. So it would not charge. It would start to charge and it would trip that receptacle. So I decided I wanted to take this into the house and test it in there, because I knew it didn't have a GFCI on the actual circuit, but it had a breaker that's protected by that dual function AFCI, GFCI. It started to charge. It got up to about 200 watts, and then it tripped the actual breaker that's in the service center, or my load center, which is my panel box, however you want to label that. So I reset it, tried it a couple times, and it continued to have that problem. So I reached out to Oupes and told them that that was going to be a problem, and it could be a major problem for a lot of people, because a lot of the electrical codes are requiring those dual function breakers in different setups now. So depending on where you're at in your house, you probably have a dual function breaker that's protecting that circuit. So we were unable to use this cord. So they found a solution that has to do something with the grounding in this. And they took the ground off of this. And when I plug this in, it charges up. We have no problem. The only problem I have with that is it should be grounded. So it does work with this. They promised that the new production models will be fixed within the unit. But for me, I have to use this extension cord to make this work, or to make this charge correctly, or as a workaround. So I'm not very, very happy with that, but I did want to bring it to your attention. Oupes is aware of that issue and they are fixing it. So that was my major #1 problem with the Oupes Exodus 1200. I don't like the fact that I have to use a workaround to make it work. However, it's important to note that this is a pre-production model when I received it. These things will be fixed. Oupes is very good about listening to the customers and responding with fixing the problems. Other companies I've worked with, and I'm not going to name any names, I don't work with them anymore, but I would reach out to them and they just wouldn't fix the problem. They would move on. I can't support that. I still stand behind Oupes products. Although this is not my favorite Oupes products, I know that they make a quality product and they care about bringing out an item that is going to perform. Let's continue the testing, because I did make sure that this is a pure sine wave inverter by hooking it to my oscilloscope and putting it under a pretty significant load for this size inverter, and everything in the waveform looked exactly like it should. So if apps are your thing, this is for you. If not, probably skip forward to the next one. Some people like connecting these power stations to the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities. Other people don't want anything to do with it, and I understand that, but I do want to point out that this has capability of connecting with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and they do have a brand new app that's actually a lot better than the old Oupes app. So they have the QR code up here on the corner. You'll scan that, you'll download the app, sign up for an account if you don't have any Oupes products, and then you'll be able to control your power station through the app. But I do want to point out, and I do want to showcase what that app looks like. So within the app, we can see the input from solar, you know, what the grid is, and your DC output, your AC output. You can turn those outputs on, and you can turn those outputs off from here. You can go up to your settings, you can fast charge, you can set it to slow charge. Your screen timeout, you can choose what you would like there. You can turn on eco mode, and you can actually see, you know, your temperature, set it to Celsius or Fahrenheit, and you would see that back on the home screen up here. You can see it's at 62 Fahrenheit right now. So it's running extremely cool because it has no load under it. But that's what the app looks like now versus what it looked like before. I really like the new app. And although my biggest concern is out of the way, I do have another one. And that is the capacity of the batteries and the efficiency of the inverter. The battery capacity is rated at 992 watt hours. I did a discharge test or a capacity test to see what type of usage we can get out of those batteries. And my discharge was showing 802 watt hours is how much capacity I was able to draw out of the batteries. That leaves us with an efficiency of 81%, or just right around 81%. That is pretty low considering some of the other power stations that I've tested here recently was around 90 to 94% efficiency. So this is a step back in efficiency. I can kind of understand it because of the price of this power station, but I don't like seeing anything below 85, 86% efficiency, even on a very affordable portable power station that's just trying to enter the market to give somebody an entryway into portable power stations. I don't like seeing 81% on efficiency. So that means my 992 watt hours of capacity is really 802 watt hours of capacity. And there is one more issue that I'm absolutely just hate about the Exodus 1200. I don't like the fact that they did not use a XT60 or even an Anderson plug. I know I hate to say that because that's going back in time a little bit, but they used this barrel port on the side that is just not common. And they did not send an adapter for that. Let me explain what I'm talking about. So this is our MC4 cable that would go to your solar panel. So one of these goes to the solar panel on the red, one of them goes black. That's what the ends look like for that, if you're not familiar with it. Then on the older power stations, you would get an Anderson plug like this with an adapter, so you can plug it into the side, plug that into your solar panels, charge things up. I did not even get to charge this up because this has this special port on it that I don't even have an adapter for. And this is what I do constantly, and I've really never ran into that problem. Either they gave me an adapter for it, or I just don't test those products because they got proprietary things like that that I just stay away from. I don't want to recommend a product that someone can get and then they can't use it. They got to buy a bunch of more items for it, or it's very hard to find. It's not standard. I don't like that. This is the standard currently as we speak. This is XT60 with MC4 connectors at the end. This is an adapter cord. You basically plug, same thing, plug that into your MC4, into your solar panel. And most solar panels have that connection on them. If they don't, I wouldn't even deal with them. And that's my honest opinion on that. Then your XT60 plugs into the side, you charge this up. That's not the only issue with solar charging. It comes in at only 500 watts of maximum input. Now, I was unable to test that. Simply like I'm pointing out, I don't have the adapter for it, so I don't like it. So outside of not being able to test it, I didn't have the capabilities of doing it because they didn't provide the correct equipment with the actual power station itself, and I think they should. So that should be changed over to at least an XT60. It gives the user the capability of charging this up with, because if you have multiple power stations and you're not getting a cord with it, because some companies are not sending the cords out with them or the adapters out with them, you had to buy them separate and you already got it. This is more popular and more readily available than probably buying that adapter there. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't like it. That's my personal opinion. That's why I'm doing the review. So if it had this adapter, this probably wouldn't even be a problem. At 500 watts though, on 992 watt hours, it's gonna take you about 2 hours. That's if you can charge at 100%. Most of these power stations, you can't charge at 100%. You start off slower, you ramp up to 500 watts, then you start charging slower at the end. So this would take you probably 2.5 hours to 3 hours to charge 992 watt hours of battery. In my honest opinion, if you're looking to buy a smaller portable power station like this, Oupes makes a better one, a much better one. One of the better, smaller portable power stations that are out there. That's in their Mega brand, the Mega 1. I did a full review on that. You can check that video out. I'll leave it in the link in the description below, and I'll put it up here in the card so you'll be able to check that one out. I would recommend that one over the Exodus 1200. If you're looking to just get into a portable power station for cheap, this might be an option for you. If all those things that I mentioned in this video doesn't really pertain to you, then Oupes does make a good product and they do have good customer service. But for me, this is just not my favorite Oupes product that I've tested. I would definitely choose the Mega 1 over the Exodus 1200. I'm not really sure where they're going with this. I love the Mega line in Oupes, the 1, the 3, the 5. And then they even have a Titan line that you can check out that's more durable. I think a lot of these companies are trying to put out all these different things. Keep it simple. I think it's a better way of doing this. You get to pick from a small, medium, and large portable power station. That's just my opinion. I think it would work better for the consumer understanding what you have to offer. And maybe 2 lineups, maybe something like the Mega versus the Titan. So if you need something more rugged, the Titans. If you need something less rugged, but still high quality, the Mega. I'm not sure where the Exodus lineup falls in, but I'm not working for the company. This is just my opinion from a consumer's point of view. But I do think that Oupes makes a better, smaller portable power station than the Exodus 1200, and that is the Mega 1. But my overall assessment of this is I am disappointed with the Exodus 1200. I do believe that Oupes will fix the problem because they usually listen, or they always have listened to my advice that I put out, because I'm trying to provide valuable information to them and valuable information to the consumer that's watching my reviews to see if this would be something that they want. And then Oupes usually responds positively and fixes any issues. Some of these things I think they can fix by putting the XT60 plug on that, no problem. That should just be able to take one piece out, put a piece in. The charging issue, they are already being resolved. As we speak, as I start to record this video, I actually got an email this morning about it. I was not going to put this video out until I had a promise that that was going to be fixed. So I am disappointed with this, but I do believe they'll fix those issues, or what issues that they can. The price point of this is very affordable. If they can fix all those issues, this might be a power station that I could recommend and do it confidently. I can't confidently recommend this in the state that it sets in my hands until I test something that gives me the ability to be more confident with it. I'm going to have to say pick the Mega 1 over the Exodus 1200.